Go ahead.
Good afternoon. We're going to call this meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission to order. It is November 3rd, 2 o'clock. I appreciate everybody joining in by YouTube and by Zoom. So let's have a roll call, please.
Commissioner Briley,
Here.
Commissioner Byers,
Here.
Commissioner Kelly,
Here.
Commissioner Tondino.
Here.
Absent is Commissioner Michelina. Also present is Zach Cook, Village Attorney, Samantha Mendez, and Stephanie Warren from the Community Development Department. You do have a quorum.
Are there any conflicts or any potential conflict of interest that any commissioner has on any item on this agenda? Seeing none, we'll go to item 2, the certification of compliance. Stephanie?
I do certify that this meeting and cases were posted and mailed in compliance with Resolution 2020-01 and in compliance with Section 5440 of the Village Code.
Thank you. Everybody looked at the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved. A second.
Motion and second to approve the agenda. I'm surprised you don't want to add more things to the agenda. It's just, well. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Approval of minutes, regular meeting October 6, 2020. Did everybody get a chance to read the minutes?
Yes.
If so, can I have a motion to accept?
I move that we accept the minutes for the October 6th meeting.
Have a motion. Do I have a second?
I second.
You have a motion and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Good. Public input. So we have a section on this agenda that people can give input to the Planning and Zoning Commission for anything that is not on the agenda. Is there anybody that might have any input to give to the commissioners? Seeing no hands raised, I'll go ahead and go on. Item 6 is our public hearings. Number A is variance approval request, case PV 2020-0744. Sam, can you give us a case?
Yes, Commissioners, Aubrey Rawls is requesting approval of a variance to encroach 5 feet into the required 10-foot left side yard setback and 16.5 feet into the required 20-foot rear yard setback as designated by the R1 Single Family Residential District to expand a covered deck located at 237 Country Club, Lot 2, Block 11 of the Golf Course Estate subdivision in Riga.
Very good. Is the applicant here? Want to state their case?
Aubrey, are you on the meeting?
He needs to unmute his.
I think, is that better?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, I was trying to basically square up my existing deck and to put a top on top of it. The way the lot is set up is kind of on the corner, so the front portion is really wide and then it narrows down to the back, which is where I feel like I have the problem. So, or where I'm asking for the variance. I guess that would be. I don't understand the terminology real well, but the hardship there is that, you know, if it was a square lot, I don't think there would be a need for a variance. But anyway, we spend a lot of time out there, and of course it's facing the west and the sun, and we would like to have it covered so we could spend more time as a family. And looking at the lot, and I hope looked at the information there. I don't feel like it's going to be a problem to any of our neighbors. I've talked with all of them and the owner of the country club, and he says he sees no problem with it. I think the improvement I know it'd help the value of my property, and I feel like it would help the value of the neighborhood too. And from what, as you might see the pictures there, there would be no view restrictions for any of my neighbors, or affect them in any way that I can see. And I had Mark Younger, I think he's on the deal. He drew up the plans, and we decided we'd have to, being that we put a roof on there, we would need to restructure it.
Thank you. Do the commissioners have any questions?
No, sir.
Sam and Stephanie, has there been any letters of approvals or acceptance, or what am I trying to say? For or against?
He had 2 letters of support for him.
Okay. So I guess my only question I had is I thought the golf course had certain setbacks from the golf course, but I know that's restricted to covenants, not something we need to look at. Would you know by any chance what those setbacks are?
No, sir. I talked to Owen Brewer, who has recently bought the golf course. It's no longer a public course, or I guess it's not even a country club any longer. He just owns it and sells memberships. And he came down and looked at it and looked at the lot and the way it was set, and he said he didn't feel like there would be any problem as far as interfering with the golf course or interfering with the players, since it's in the very, I guess, southeast corner of his property.
Okay. Any commissioner questions anymore? We'll open this up for a public hearing. Is there anybody in the public that wishes to speak for or against this case? Second chance? Hearing none, I'm going to close the public hearing. Commissioners, what's your pleasure?
Well, based upon the foregoing finding of fact per 54-66 of the village code, I move to approve the requested variance in case PB 2020-0744, the conditions stated in the case report.
A second.
Yeah, Scarlett, he beat you. So we have a motion and a second. I guess to the applicant, do you understand the conditions that staff put on?
I'm not sure what.
Okay. There were 4 or 5 conditions that they put on you.
Oh, yes, I read those.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Got it. Okay. We have a motion and a second. Can I get a roll call, please?
Commissioner Byers?
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly?
Aye.
Commissioner Condino?
Aye.
Commissioner Riley?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you. Thank you for bearing with us. We're going to go on to item 2 or B, commercial PUD zoning designation with site plan and conceptual plan approval, case SP 2020-0749, Jesse Townsend. Sam, can you give us a briefing on this? And can you also give us a briefing on, I know we heard this not too long ago, of what happened, I guess, on the prior and why this is different?
Okay, so the case before us today is from the applicant Jesse Townsend. He's requesting approval to proceed with designating his property as commercial PUD, with the site plan and concept approval to operate outdoor recreation activities within the 5-acre tract known as the James Townsend Tract 1A located at 525 Resort Drive. So this is a completely separate case, so nothing that was heard before regarding this legal description 1A should be considered.
Okay.
Any kind of information that was for that case is being heard by the village council. It's being appealed next Tuesday to them. So today, let's just keep in mind the information presented in your packets and anything that comes forth during the public hearing. It's a totally different request. So this is outdoor recreation. That was a campground. And so let's just try and keep the two separate.
And I'm sure that there will be public that think this is combined. That's why I wanted you to straighten that out.
Yes, it's strictly for the outdoor recreation.
Mr. Townsend, are you on board and want to give a brief description of the project?
Yes, I am. Can everybody hear me?
Not very well.
Oh, very good. Okay, let me figure out what to do differently here.
Almost sounds like feedback, but I'm not sure.
Maybe turn your speakers down a little, Jesse?
Okay,
Oh.
That's a lot better.
better there?
Yes.
Okay, so what I propose to the planning and zoning is, and Samantha, please help me. There's a couple things that need to be understood here, that I'm already a PUD that goes back to pre-1988. And so I'm trying to get a designation, pick a designation, which would allow me to be a commercial PUD, and then we can go from there. So the planning and zoning needed the concept plan to understand the direction that I want to go. And what I want to do is family activities and outdoor activities that also match the comprehensive plan for the Ruidoso Village, which one of the main things was outdoor recreation and family activities. So in some of the fine print, some of the stuff that I've read from section 54-105 is that any piece of property that was already designated a PUD prior to June 28th, 1988 may allow any use mixed designation except industrial plan unit development until approved by the Planning Commission in accordance with section 5469. No development shall be commenced until the plan unit development use mix is designated and approved by the Planning Commission. So my first question is, according to the fact that my family's been there since before 1988 and we've been a PUD, can I and am I allowed to operate if there is no development? And from a letter that I have from Samantha dated February 14th, 2020, anything that was of a temporary nature didn't necessarily need special permits that I was allowed to operate. So things like bounce houses and petting zoos and some kind of recreation would be allowed. And I don't have the intentions of doing any development, even though there is a pile of dirt there. It was a temporary deal. It was kind of an experiment, but it's nothing permanent. We've already had a business there since 1988. So there's water lines, there's a septic line there already, and there's a gravel parking lot. So I do believe that I should be allowed to do something with my property, even if it's guided hiking tours or parking or some kind of other recreation that doesn't require any development. So I guess, Samantha, if you can clarify some of that for everybody, that I have been a PUD since before 1988. I just need the specific designation to move forward.
So you have been designated as a PUD. We do need the designation for commercial to afford you the uses that are within the commercial designation in the code. And I understand there was a business at one point on this land, however, it has not been, in place within 90 days, so at that point, the use is no longer. And that's what brings us here today, to get these types of uses approved, so that you can, operate, on your land. However, my email was referring to permitting, which would be something in nature like a building permit or something of that. We don't have permits where someone would go out and inspect your bounce house. That's where the state would come in, and you'd have to make sure you have the proper insurance in place. And so that's what the context of my email back in February was about.
Okay, I understand that. So what we're discussing and voting on today would be primarily to allow me to be a commercial plan unit development, correct?
Well, the planning commission serves as a recommendation to the council, so they would either be recommending a zone change to commercial PUD, or your case would be heard without their support. So that's where the commercial part comes in. The second part to your case today is the site plan and concept approval. Within the chapter 54, it lays out the steps for being able to move forward with development of the PUD, and this is just the first step in it, getting your concept and the site plan approved.
Okay, I understand that part.
So that's what brings us here today.
Okay. So back to the second part then is I would like to do something that is outdoor recreation and primarily geared towards littler kids and families with small children. There's not a lot of activities for small children to do. So such things as pony rides. After more research, I found out that bounce house insurance is extremely high, and due to COVID, probably wouldn't be able to get permitted through the state to do that anyways, and don't really want to go through being in that type of risk. But some type of pony ride and park setting and outdoor activities that were temporary in nature, cornhole games and miniature golf or something that I've got a 5-year-old daughter, and we're always looking for something like that. It's a fun fall festival type thing where you do a pumpkin patch part of the year and corn mazes, and there's no telling what's liable to work at that location. So I don't have a hard plan yet, but I would like to be able to experiment with things that may work for the public and things that might not be economical to do. So hopefully we can get that started. It matches the comprehensive plan. It also goes along with other parts of the comprehensive plan to promote small business within the village, and even for the residents of Ruidoso that have small kids, there's not a lot of stuff to do for little kids also. And now that the lake, the village has limited the total vehicle number, I don't think that my activities would be detrimental to the health and safety and welfare of the village. Before in the summer, I could see the problems with that, but now that we have limited vehicles, I think we've limited that problem. And then now, until we figure out what we're doing about non-county residents, I think there's going to be a lot less activity up and down Grindstone Resort. So hopefully we're not running into those kinds of problems as well, but hopefully we can figure out how to get all those problems addressed.
Okay, thank you, Sam. Anything to add?
No, if we just filter through our case study, though, you can see what has been completed and what is still lacking. We also get to the development review where staff had some questions and requirements before the preliminary, but I feel like for the concept, he's answered many of our requirements. One thing was the parking wasn't drawn to scale. However, it is a 5-acre tract, so I think whenever he does an official site plan, that will have to be addressed to make sure he has enough space. There wasn't any square footage of dwellings or structures, but are you anticipating building structures
No, ma'am, there shouldn't be any, there's no permanent buildings.
Another thing that came up was from the Army Corps of Engineers, since it is a designated waterway through his, track that we need to make sure that the proper permits are in place prior to development. One question I had for you, Jesse, was the restrooms are notated here on your site plan, but what type of restrooms are you planning on installing?
Initially, it would probably be porta potties. I have talked to the Parks and Rec office a little bit, and we're kind of experimenting, or at least throwing the idea around of potentially building permanent restrooms that could be utilized on my property and for the Frisbee golf course, but a lot of that stuff is still in the concept for right now, so I don't know.
Okay. I think we would like to see put permanent infrastructure, since like you stated earlier, you have water and sewer running through your property.
Yes, ma'am.
Does the commission have any questions for Mr. Townsend? Hearing none right now, I'm going to wait for my questions to be toward the end after the public hearing. So I'm going to open up the public hearing right now. So if there is anybody that wants to speak for or against this, would you please go forward now?
Hello, this is Laura Harlan. I'm coming in from Clovis, New Mexico. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. We've known Jesse for a long time. We're property owners right next to where his dad's trailer was. And we've had some concerns along, and Jesse is aware of that. And I really like where he's coming from. I think what I don't understand is that there are a number of things that are.
Ms. Harlan,
Yes.
we're having a hard time understanding. Could you turn your speakers down?
Yes, ma'am, I can. Maybe.
Go ahead.
Okay, I guess one of the things that I'm having a difficult time understanding right now in this process is what you would actually approve today when we have a general idea of what's being looked at, but not a specific idea of how that will play out in the future. So I'm not sure exactly what the commission would be approving today if you approved what he's asking for.
So today, what we're presenting to the commission is his request to be designated as commercial, as well as the concept for his 5-acre tract, how it would be utilized as a commercial property, and the site plan of the area that would be developed. This is the first of several steps that he would be following in order to be operational. The planning commission would, should they so choose to, make a recommendation to the village council for a zone change to designate him as commercial PUD. That's what's being heard today.
Okay, I think I understand what you say. If I could repeat that back, basically, we're looking at a commercial designation and the concept steps of what Jesse's looking at to put in there. And then it would come back later when it got more specific and there would be additional steps. Is that correct?
Yes, there are additional steps. There's actually public hearings that would be held with our governing body to make the designation of the zone commercial PUD. It would not, it would require the publication of the public hearing, and you all once again would be afforded the opportunity to weigh in on the zone change of commercial PUD.
Okay, but the specific steps about what would possibly go into that would rest in whose hands?
So during the next public hearing would be the preliminary development, and there are specific requirements per the village code that you would need to meet And we would just need basically what he has here, but better detail.
Okay, and are property owners advised as those pieces take place?
Yes,
Is those
ma'am. Anybody within 200 feet of this property would be notified once again by mail. And also during the village council, we would notify 15 days prior to the public hearing for that as well.
Okay, I really appreciate that. We have watched that property for a number of years. We're right across Resort Drive from where that property is. Of course, right now it's a beautiful view of the mountains. And so we've just been kind of interested in what that's going to look like as we look off of our back porch. So thank you for listening to me. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other comments? Hearing none, I'm going to ask Sam to read in for the record, or at least comment on the letters and everything that they've received here at Village Hall.
Okay, we have received 6 letters, and out of those 6, 3 were within the 200-foot notification, and all 6 were against the development as described in this concept. If you all would like, I can read each one into the record.
It's already in the record.
It's in the record. I guess I would just ask for a summary of the ones that are within the 200, what their main concern were.
So I'll just read the ones within the 200 feet.
Okay, there you go.
That'll be better. The first one's from Richard Burns at 103 Santa Maria. He states, I own the property at 103 Santa Maria within 200 feet of the proposed development at 525 Resort Drive. I have several concerns regarding the developing this property as a commercial recreational site. My main concern is that Grindstone Lake area is not an appropriate area to have commercial development. This area has always been scenic, interdoso, and has been used by residents and visitors as an escape from commercial development. The lake itself has undergone development by the village in the past few years that has taken away from the natural setting that existed previously. The addition of the Whibbit in the summer and the campgrounds and the concession area, etc., have changed that area enough. The residents that surround Resort Drive and Canyon have been able to enjoy a very scenic area that is wildlife, limited traffic, and a serene setting. Turning this into a commercial zone of any sort will change this dramatically forever. Resort Drive has already become congested with the additions to the lake. Having more commercial development actually on the street will make the situation much worse. Developing this site as an amusement park with an inflatable slide, bounce house, pony ride, petting zoo, playground, etc. will create an eyesore to the scenic beauty of the area as well as noise pollution from the generators used to keep the slide and bounce house inflated, as well as the kids participating in the activities. The noise tends to carry up the canyon. Additionally, we're going to have odors from the ponies, the petting zoo, and a bigger infestation of flies to the area. Please preserve this area from future commercial development. The next one is from David Deaton.
The one with the pictures is also close.
Dear Village of Odessa Planning Commission, I know you've heard from me in the past regarding the ongoing project ideas from the above location across the street from my home. So I will not make my letter as long as normal. In discussing with other neighbors the crazy traffic issues the last 2 summers, we are concerned about bringing more traffic to the area. The last summer, due to COVID, Grindstone Lake did not have the Whibbit that brought enormous traffic the summer before it. We are thinking with the summer's crazy crowd control and the parking issues when the Whibbit is brought back into the picture that our area will be completely out of control and that adding anything else to the mix is very illogical idea. Therefore, I'm against the new idea of a petting zoo, etc. Instead, I have a suggestion for Jesse to help alleviate the current problems by putting in a parking lot and charging people for it. it would take less manpower than what I'm envisioning and make good, consistent money while helping solve the community traffic issue. He could start with the parking on the dirt, eventually using the cash flow to pave it. Also, although I don't talk about it often, I am battling breast cancer and need the peace and quiet that I moved to this neighborhood to enjoy. Thank you for understanding, Dana Theory.
The David Deaton one was one too.
He was right before that?
Yeah, he was after the Karen Cook, second page.
Mr. Chairman, I'm not sure if anybody else can hear, but we couldn't hear a single word Samantha was saying.
Does it sound like a robot?
Yeah, the audio is really bad.
I don't know what to do.
Sorry.
You want one of these, or is the microphone on?
I can hear you, Alan, just fine.
Well, I've got like 3 speakers right next to me, so.
How about now?
You're
Can
all
you hear me
mic'd up,
better?
man.
Yes.
Okay. Would y'all like me to read that again?
How about you take your mask off? People might be able to hear you better. You're 6 feet away.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Dodge, Samantha, I think you need to stick to the points where anybody that's protesting it is bringing that in adverse impacts. You know, there's several different issues that you're bringing up that I don't think are germane to the subject. So I would just summarize as the chairman had requested and just keep to the adverse impact statements.
Thank you, Manager. So these are all just basically stating that the noise and the additional traffic that it's going to bring to the neighborhood is not a concept that the people residing within 200 feet of us. So that was 3 out of the 9.
So it's 3 out of the 9, okay. So, again, we're still in public hearing. Is there anybody besides Manager Dodge that wants to talk on behalf of this case? Hearing none, I'm going to close the public hearing. Commissioners, questions, answers? What do you want to talk about?
I was looking at the assessment impact checklist, and there's quite a few things that are potentially adverse, requiring more study. And then some things are called, needing mitigation. I just kind of feel like, with changing this, I mean, I know there's a lot of hoops to go through after. I don't know if it's the right thing for this particular. What are the surrounding properties zoned? I didn't see that in any of the.
Commissioner Tondino, the surrounding properties.
It's Brownstone Lake Zone.
Yeah,
Let me pull up the zoning map.
well, there's residential on the other side.
And then there's Frisbee Golf.
Yeah. So,
But then what's
There's
the,
residential and other PUD.
right.
and what are the other PUD zones? What are they zoned? Just PUD, no designation.
What's allowed in PUD?
Well, that's what we have to
That's-
designate. That's what we're.
Again, there's residential, there's commercial,
There
there's.
aren't any
Okay.
uses specific to a PUD. Once you get the designation as commercial, residential, or mixed, that's whenever you're afforded,
Well,
the uses.
You have to go to planning and zoning.
we just have it on the wall. We need to give the man a designation, at least so he can figure out then what he can do with it.
Stand by, everybody. We're getting the zoning maps up.
Okay, Mr. Townsend is trapped 1A. And so he is surrounded by
How's it going?
PUD.
Does he go across the road too? Or is
So
it
these are the
just,
properties that are contiguous to his tract, so it'd be considered PUD all the way around.
so where did those roads go?
Roads?
Well, you see Resort Drive goes down and then did it just cut off the road? I'm just trying to
I
see,
can help, Samantha.
I'm just trying to find out what else could be impacted by if we suggest this potentially. I know there's a lot of things to go forward from that, but what else is down the road that would be then we set a precedence for that could cause issues?
Directly to the north of this property is Mobile Home Unit 1, I believe. And there's a few of the neighbors that have spoken to this. If you go down Resort to the east a little bit more, you tie into Grindstone Canyon right by the Parks and Rec office. And a little bit past them is where the wide spot on Grindstone Canyon is, where you guys were parking lake traffic for a few seasons. So there's not really a lot down there. If you go back to the west, you go, that's Resort Drive that takes you to Wiggins Way, which eventually takes you right into the Grindstone Lake recreation area. So everything from the dam all the way to my west property is all village property and what they use for the Frisbee golf. And there's no development in between there. There's nothing, this open park area.
Except for Grindstone Stables, right?
Yep.
I guess
Is that
that,
track two?
Correct.
Mhm. And then to your east is also village land and Parks and Rec office, correct?
Correct.
and then across the street is just hillside.
Okay. Have more questions? So I guess I'm going to follow up on Commissioner Dino's comments. I'm sorry. I'm going to follow up with the assessment impact checklist. And I see a lot of things in red saying not provided, some light blue ones saying not at this time. And then the impact checklist, to me, is concerned. There's nothing filled out for transportation. And so how do we know the impact that the village feels that the impact for transportation and utilities are for a conceptual plan or a commercial PUD? And I'm kind of on John's side is, do we have enough information to really make the decision whether this is approvable, if that's a word?
Mm-hmm. If it's passable.
Are you talking, the commercial side of it? The designation of
just-
commercial? Or are you talking his plans to do, if it is designated commercial?
And Bart, I guess what we're going to do today is decide whether or not it's commercial PUD, but with commercial comes certain activities like parking, like transportation, like sewer, like water, and none of that is filled out by staff. And that's why I'm saying, do we have enough information to make a logical decision whether this even could be a commercial PUD?
So.
I believe, if I can help, there's already been commercial activity on this pre-1988 that there's city water there, there's public utilities there, there's a private water well there. There's already a gravel road that accesses the backside of the lake and continues on up to Grindstone Stables. Basically, everything is there for me to be able to do something. And I can understand if people have their hesitations about wondering how big can it be, and let's take it at a time so it doesn't overload the community. But I need to be a commercial PUD in order to be able to accomplish something so that I have a right and I can, my land can earn an income. Otherwise, it's a public park that nobody has access to. So whether or not that stuff is, we haven't got that far in the concept plan because I don't think that was an issue. And from what I've talked to the other staff in the village, that wasn't a concern. The main concern was get the zoning approval, and then the village can help me move on with the rest of it. Because even something as simple as a tractor ride and a parking lot that helps support the lake and takes some of the pressure off of that main arterial road there would be a benefit to the community. But I need to be a commercial PUD before I can start that process.
What other designations are there for PUD?
Yeah,
Would it be helpful if I go over the different planned use developments, the different classifications?
Yeah, that's what I was just asking.
So, section.
Can you
I'm
put
not
a
sure who's-
microphone over there by Zach?
No, but, yeah.
Come sit next to me, Zach,
there's all kinds of,
and I'll back away.
I'll mask it.
So section 54-105 of your code says that the purpose and intent of planned unit development is to A, produce more appropriate development than would result from the strict application of this article. B, permit design flexibility that will encourage a more creative approach to the development of land and that will result in more efficient and aesthetically desirable alternatives to the housing needs of the community. C, locate housing, recreation, shops, offices, and industrial uses conveniently to each other for the benefit of the entire community. D, permit flexibility in land use, placement of buildings, arrangement of open spaces, circulation facilities, and off-street parking areas, and to maximize the potentials of individual sites under development. E, promote the infill of vacant land within established village limits. F, accomplish more aesthetic and desirable developments which can best utilize and protect special features of the geography, topography, size, and shape of particular pieces of property, and provide a compatible and stable environment in harmony with the surrounding area. And then it goes on. And then, let's see here. And then it describes the different types of planned unit developments. The first one is residential planned unit developments. And those shall allow the principal permitted uses in R1, R2, R3, R4, and C1 zoning districts and shall contain at least 70% residential uses. 2 is commercial planned unit development, and those shall allow the principal permitted uses of C1, C2, and C3 districts, plus any type of residential use in the R1, R2, R3, and R4 districts. And I believe that's what Mr. Townsend is asking for y'all to approve.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's mixed use planet developments, which shall permit any combination of land uses integrally developed under one concept and shall be permitted in any zoning district or combination of zoning districts. And then you've got industrial planned unit development. An industrial planned unit development shall include principal permitted uses in the I1 and C4 districts. So my interpretation of that is that, well, first of all, it's already a PUD and it's going to be a PUD.
Mm-hmm.
And the code right here says that part of the purpose of PUD is to develop infill in the village limits and, you know, to develop this property, and PUD gives you a lot more flexibility, or the intent of PUD is to have flexibility in your development. Any use in a PUD is going to have an impact on the local area, right? And on the surrounding area. There's going to be more traffic. There's going to be all kinds of things. It's not going to be an open park. It's this guy's private property that the village previously zoned PUD, and what he wants to do now is to move forward, have you guys designate it as commercial so that he can use his property as the code allows. So I guess my point is that he's already been zoned PUD. He gets to do something. And so he's asking y'all to let him do commercial. And I agree that there are problems with the application for the site plan development. I don't know how you can go forward either if there are gaps to it. But at a minimum, I think that you are capable of designating it as a CPUD today, based on what you've seen and what you've heard from the applicant. But I don't think that you can continue to look at the gaps in his application on the site plan and say, well, we can't call you a CPUD. We're not prepared to do that right now. You guys just need to understand that it's going to be a high impact area. It was zoned PUD a long time ago, and now it's just, how do you want to develop it from here? So.
Good. Thank you, Zach.
Mr. Chairman, if I may speak,
Ron?
members of the Planning Commission, on the transportation and utilities, there is no impact that's anticipated with this case. And I'll stand for any questions on that if the commission has any.
No, I don't have a good, I think my other concern would be, you know, like you just said in that description, he could be C3, which is Midtown, right? So no setbacks, nothing like that. And he could build buildings, you know, to that lot line, which I guess is kind of which is a concern of mine, because once we designated commercial PUD, is there another hearing that says which kind of commercial he can have, or is it pretty much considered that's what he just gets to choose?
So the next step, prior to any development, is the preliminary plans, and so he needs to bring that forth. And so those steps are laid out in the code.
But that doesn't have anything to do with which type of commercial zoning he has.
The ordinance says
Did you
commercial,
Yeah.
the ordinance says commercial plan unit development shall allow the principal permitted uses in the C1, C2, and C3 districts. So he gets to do whatever is a principal permitted use in that area. Permitted uses don't have anything to do with setbacks.
Yes, that's right, Commissioner Tondino. So we're just talking about uses, not necessarily
Like,
setbacks.
okay, got it.
Commissioners, anything else? Any other comments?
I do have a comment.
Okay. Mr. Brown.
Well, I feel like we should grant a standing or a designation, regardless of his intent. I mean, I think the designation needs to be established first, and then he can figure out how to make his whatever venture fit that designation. But I think it is incumbent upon us to at least give him a designation. I don't care if it's residential, commercial, mixed, or industrial. Give him a designation so then he can figure out what he can do with his property to develop it as is his right. You know, right now he's in limbo.
Right.
And a designation does not open the door for him to do whatever he wants to do.
Right.
PUDs are highly regulated, and he's gonna have to come back to y'all and to you
But he
guys.
deserves a designation.
And his concept he is proposing is in line with the comprehensive plan, and so that is the direction that the village would like to provide more recreational opportunities, so.
He may decide later on that he wants to put in a restaurant or something. Who knows? But it's not for us to say to deny or approve based on what his concept is at this point. I think it is, we need to give him a designation, and then his concept of what he wants to do with it is another issue.
Okay, before us is both. So we need to decide if we want to separate those out or not, or can we?
Of course,
Okay.
Chairman, you
Right.
can do both or separate them.
You do whatever you want.
That's right. So, commissioners, if there's no more questions, no more comments, Mr. Townsend, anything else you want to add before they make a motion or take a vote?
No, thank you. I appreciate your time and understanding, and all the commissioners. Ruidoso, at the time that this was zoned as a PUD and all the land that was around there, they wanted something to be developed in there, and that's the reason it's zoned this way. And I understand some of my neighbors having concerns that that's not what they want to see. But the facts of the matter are, my family's owned that property since 1986, and I got a family to support myself, and I would like to do something with it. And if they want to visit with me and talk about how we can make it permanent or whatever for everybody, a good thing for everybody, I'll listen. But I think that this is the direction that once it's established, will be a benefit to the whole community and tourism in general.
Very good. Commissioners, do I have a motion?
Based upon the foregoing findings of Fact per 54-67 of the Village Code, I move to approve the James Townsend Tract 1A proposed site plan and concept approval for case SP 2020-0289 to proceed on to the next step of approval, being the preliminary development plan, and to make the recommendations to the village council for commercial PUD zoning designation.
Have a motion, how about a second?
I can barely hear, but second.
We have a motion and a second for approval, including the site plan and the conceptual plan. So we'll have a,
I think the voice in the recording was bad. Could you repeat that one more time? I'm sorry. I have several people saying they didn't hear you.
It's still breaking up really bad, Sam.
Based upon the foregoing findings of
that?
fact.
No?
Can you hear it through my
Right.
microphone?
Can you hear me now?
Nope.
Doesn't even have a mask.
It seems like it's probably a bad connection.
How about now?
Yep.
Doesn't need to be plugged in.
It was?
Based upon, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yep. Okay, maybe this mic's works. Based upon the foregoing finding of fact, per 54-67 of the Village Code, I move to approve the James Townsend Tract 1A proposed site plan and concept approval for case SP 2020-0289 to proceed onto the next step of approval, being the preliminary development plan, and to make the recommendations to the village council for commercial PUD zoning designation.
Second.
we have a motion and a second to approve commercial PUD site plan and concept plan. Can I have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Byers,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
Commissioner Tandino,
Aye.
Commissioner Briley.
Aye.
Motion carries 4 in favor, 0 against.
Very good. Thank you. We're doing okay on time and recording?
I got 53. That'll give me about 22 minutes.
Okay, good. We can finish. All right, next item on the agenda is site plan and concept approval case SP 2020-0756, Jason Seidenberger. I hope I didn't butcher that too bad, for a site plan and concept plan in Palmer Gateway subdivision. Sam, can you give us a history?
Yes, sir. Commissioners, we have Jason Seidenberger here requesting approval of a site plan and concept to expand a current structure for the development of a food and beverage establishment located in the C2 Commercial District in 626 Everett. He is wanting to change an old blighted gas station into a restaurant slash with a beer liquor license. He's not brewing on site. I do believe he's here with us, so hopefully he can fill us in on the details.
Can't see him because he's in camouflage.
Jason, are you available?
He's under Scarlet.
Yes.
Yes, I am. Can you, did I do it right?
We can hear you.
Thank you for having us today. I appreciate the opportunity to come before you guys and see if we can get this moving forward. So please give me every question you can, and I look forward to it.
Can Can you tell us what you're going to be putting in here at 626 Sutter?
We are looking to put a restaurant into 626 Sutter, along with an outdoor dance floor and a grain den, basically a grain den silo bar over in the far corner of the property next to Mr. and Mrs. Tanner's property. Pull that part. So in red right there is the current existing structure. The blue would be the additions or the add-ons to that. As you're looking at the screen, on the right-hand side would be a dry storage area. On the left-hand side in blue would be the restaurant, restrooms, mechanical room, and then on the back would be a full-size commercial kitchen. In the far right corner, lower right corner would be an outside dance floor, and to the left would be a bar.
Where's the road? Where's the road?
On that is.
It's on the top, right?
No, it's on the bottom.
No, I think it's on the top.
This is the back of the property. This is Sutter, correct?
Yes.
And this is the existing gas station structure?
The existing where your cursor is, correct.
Okay.
Better example of that would be the next slide or the next
So
page.
this is in the back side.
Where you on the display.
This building
It was
currently
easier for you to
is in the
see
back.
and determine what.
It's a pretty
what
deep
was-
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. 'Cause
So you will not be brewing beer on site, correct?
That is 100% correct. I have no intention to brew any spirits of any kind on site or anywhere else for that matter. There's too many places that do a great job already. Our job, or our goal, our vision was to carry a large quantity of Mexico wines and beers. We have several of them in our own county that do an excellent job of making spirits and beer, and that's what we like to carry, and I think it's a good match.
This is probably your side.
Yeah, parking.
Yeah.
It'd be here.
And then the building is back here.
Mhm. Okay, we're just trying to get our North Arrow set here. Sorry.
It's okay.
All right, so commissioners, do we have any questions? This used to be gas station. Are the tanks removed and everything checks out clear?
The tanks have been completely removed and the environmental study has been completed. And there was no findings of any kind of leakage. I'd be more than happy to forward this to the council if y'all don't, if you do not have, or to the commission if you do not have copies of it already.
I just saw on the for sale sign that that's what it said, so that's all I saw. All right, any other questions?
Chairman Briley, I'd like to just make one comment. The reason for these site plans being done by our applicants is that the local surveyors are booked through the end of the year. So in order to promote these businesses and to move things along, I've asked them to please draw up as close to scale as possible.
Not only in our county, but everywhere it seems like in our state, I'm having a hard time finding. But I got with Mark Younger and he was working on it. So I think this is a concept that would take something that has been an existing piece of property that hasn't received a lot of love or attention. Not a bad looking piece of property by any means, but something that would add something else on that side of the town, down by Sutter, that would turn it into and contribute to tourism, provide a place to eat for a lot, something different other than the fast food and the fare that we've had down there, going towards Sutter and towards the Downs. Not that there's anything wrong with it, just something in addition to cater to our growing medical community, Region 9, the school districts. We're not too far from the village offices either. I think it's something that really could be a roadhead turn and make it a standout thing on that side of Sutter, right before we get to Midtown. So I'm hoping that's how it keep as well.
Okay, and as we mentioned on the last one, this does not, it's for a concept plan, not necessarily the actual design of parking lots and stalls and parking spaces, correct? That comes later?
No, so
No, this
this,
is the
should you
approval.
all
This one
approve
is
the
it.
site plan, would be able to move forward with building permits. At this time, the only thing he's been able to be permitted for was demolition and burying some conduit. He hasn't been able to obtain any other building permits for this lot.
I guess I did not see in the staff review the number of parking that is required and that he met that. Or did I miss it?
Just one, two slides down.
Oh, okay, there we go, sorry. He has met them.
Okay, thank you. So with, unfortunately, I work for the highway department, and anything on Sutterth and Meacham, I always have kind of a heartburn about making sure that any change needs new permits. So I don't know if that's conflict or not, but I just need to throw that in for a comment.
The entrance and exits are already
$30
there.
to have right there.
But change of use still have to do it.
Oh,
Got it. Okay. No other things. I'll open the public hearing for this case. Is there anybody that wants to speak for or against this development? Seeing a lot of happy faces on the camera, I guess that is no. So I guess I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing. Commissioners, any other final questions? Do I hear a motion?
based upon foregoing findings of fact per section 54-67 of the Village Code, I move to grant the requested site plan concept approval for case number SP-2020-0756 with the conditions stated in the case report.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Can we get a roll call, please?
Commissioner Byers?
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly? Aye. Commissioner Tandino?
Aye.
Commissioner Briley?
Aye.
Motion carries, 4 in favor, 0 against.
Thank you. We look forward to it.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate your time today.
Bet.
Have a great one.
Item D, conditional use approval, case CU 2020-0786 Arturo Olivas. Sam, you want to give us a case report?
Yes, Commissioners, Arturo Olivas is requesting approval of the conditional use to operate an automotive repair shop within a C2 commercial district located at 718 Carrizo Canyon Road, Block 3, Lot 1 of the Hudson Subdivision, First Edition. This piece of property is interesting because the backside of it is actually part of the county and is unincorporated. So if you'll keep that in mind as we go through his case. I do believe he's here to explain his site plan as well.
So just a quick question on this sketch where it says parking lot, that's where the county city limit line is?
So I need to pull it.
Yeah, because the house is in the county, correct?
This sketch here is all of his property, everything within
Okay.
those bold boundary lines.
Right.
And then behind there is where the residential,
So it's behind this is,
the county.
got it. Okay.
But
Just
they
getting,
don't have zoning, but the use currently is residential.
okay. Applicant, are you there? Do you want to talk about this project?
No, it was already, it's his turn to talk.
This is the right there.
Okay. Yeah, just go ahead and give us a brief summary of what you're planning to do.
Well, I'm just gonna start a small mom and pop shop, automotive repair for, just to repair vehicles, just like I've been doing for a while here in this town. And, just that. And I just want to do everything the way it's supposed to be done. That's where I'm at with this. I think I believe this is one of the last steps to comply with the city on getting this done. We're going to be doing small maintenance, nothing major. We're not going to be doing tires or loud stuff. Most of my equipment is electric, not really. There's some pneumatic stuff. We're not going to be. It's just really small mechanical stuff.
Chairman, if I may, he does meet the automobile service station, being at least 15 feet from any residential. He has over 12,000 square feet of a lot size. He doesn't have pump islands. D is something that I would like for us to reinforce, that the repairs of hydraulic hoist, pits and lubrication, greasing, washing, repair shall be used and enclosed within a building. So all of these repairs need to be done inside that garage that's currently there. And since it is contiguous to residential use, we'd like the hours of operations not to take place between 10 and 7 a.m.
Mr. Olivas, have you seen these conditions that they're asking you to comply with?
Absolutely, and I have no problems with that.
Okay. Did I have a public hearing on this yet? Did I have a public hearing on this? I haven't. Okay, we're going to open the public hearing for comments. Is there anybody that wants to speak for or against this project? Seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing. Commissioners, any more questions, comments?
No.
May I have a motion?
Based upon the foregoing findings of fact per section 54-68 and section 54-100 of the Village Code, I move to grant the requested conditional use approval for case number CU-2020-0786 with the conditions stated in the case report.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve this. Can I have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Byers,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly. Aye. Commissioner Condino,
Aye.
Commissioner Briley.
Aye.
Motion carries 4 in favor, 0 against.
Thanks, sir, and good luck with your endeavors.
Thank you.
Okay, next item, site plan and conceptual plan approval, case SP 2020-0801. Ronnie Starr is requesting approval of site plan and concept plan. Sam, you want to give us a case study?
Commissioners, Ronnie Starr would like to construct a new building for retail sales and a restaurant within a C2 Community Commercial District located at 716 Meacham Drive, Block 11A, Lot 1 of the Cree Meadows Country Club subdivision. We do have him on as well. Mr. Starr, would you like to join us and go over your site plan?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, hi there. My name is Ronnie Starr. My wife and I, Pam, just relocated here from Michigan back in June. This property located at 716 Meacham was my dad's property. He ran a nice, successful real estate business here, I think for probably 15 or more years. My wife, she's a school teacher of 33 years, and after my dad had passed away, we decided we would relocate here. We, came out here a couple of years ago and absolutely fell in love with Ruidoso, and thought we would make a run at, starting up a little kind of business. We went through a little, or actually a lot of different idea options because it's such an outstanding location Cree Meadows Country Club, and Meacham. And we ended up deciding after, a lot of contemplation to do a mom and pop, small soft serve ice cream store. And also we'd like to merchandise some of the local artwork. We found that there's a lot of talented people out here. The business that we're looking at, we want to have probably about, the new building will be about 500 square feet of commercial kitchen space, about 400 square feet of inside or interior retail, and, have a few, probably 2, maybe 4 tops to sit. And then outside, we'll have a covered porch. Will also make up about maybe 400 square feet. That's what we want to do. We would like to be an asset to the community. We feel very confident that we will be. We also want to give back to the community. We think we'll do a great job here, and look forward to serving the community.
Thank you, Mr. Starr. Commissioners, do you have any comments or questions?
My only question really is, or more concern, I bet the property kind of goes almost all the way to the road there, or kind of, are the power lines that are in this picture on page 4, are they going to have to be moved?
I can answer that, Commissioner Tondino. There are wide utility easements platted here. You'll notice on page 2 of this case study, and that will not be impacted. We've worked very closely with the Stars to make sure that he was not going to be putting parking or construction within those easements. And so
Oh, okay.
it'll be free of that.
Okay.
So I guess some questions, again, on your staff analysis. Is Ron going to come in and give a traffic study impact? Because it's right on the corner of 2 busy roads, and I'm just wondering if anybody has looked at that. I think, Mr. Starr, you heard me on the previous case. I work for the highway department, and I'm concerned about access onto the roads and accidents and sight distances from intersections, all that kind of happy stuff. So I'm very concerned about traffic generated from this and what the staff thinks about it as well. And I think I see Ron coming this way. And then my only other question was the covered porch goes right up to the easement. It doesn't go that extra distance into the easement. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time, with our surveyor that came out and, obviously researching where the easements were, where the, my dad owned this property, and I guess when they either expanded 48 or, did some upgrade developments to 48, as well as when they rerouted Country Club into Cree Meadows as opposed to going straight to Meacham, where that was a very hazardous intersection.
Yeah, it was.
They offered my dad, after they completed the project, the opportunity to purchase part of the, the land.
Old road, right.
Well, that's what he did. When my wife and I, we were exploring the possibilities, we thought, we had a lot of land, but we really don't. The easements, the water and sewer cut the property diagonally. So obviously that limits, the buildability of what we're trying to do. But it turns out too that, that we can use those easements for, for freeways. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that maybe it's still a good thing, but we've made certain that we fall within, any specs or restrictions on easements or any setbacks as well.
Right. I saw that some of those big trees have been cut already, and I see in the staff report, landscape plan said needs a landscape plan, so I don't know, Sam, if that's been submitted or is that part of his building permit process?
Since development review, he has met with the forestry department and they've received their certificate of compliance.
Awesome.
So access to this property will not be off of Cree Meadows.
I think it is.
It will?
I think so, because the front of the
arrows.
No,
Um,
not off of Green Meadows.
The country club, the one in the back, and then Meacham,
Okay.
And there's already
Not off Cree.
No.
not off Creek.
And there's a curb cut already on Meacham. Is that correct?
On Meacham.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Any other commissioners? If not, I'll open this up for public hearing. Is there anybody that wants to speak for or against this project or this concept plan? Go ahead. Can you unmute her?
He's doing it.
Hello,
Yes, there you.
my name is Josefina Leon. I'm a property owner there at 350. My family and I strongly oppose to the development site, being that we're very close to the development. Like as you stated before, there are traffic concerns. We have submitted a letter on regards to comments. We see the development site is the parking track. We value the quiet and the peace around that area. A few years ago, it used to be a dead end. And once it actually opened up, which was actually a reason why we purchased the property right there at 353 Country Club. And once the dead end opened, there's been a lot of traffic, just going through the street. That's one of the concerns, which actually, with that, it kind of created vandalism towards our property. There was a hit and run towards one of the blocks that holds part of the land on the hill. So that's one of our main concerns is the parking and traffic issues, which is also like you stated. Besides, what that entails, the disturbance of peace, increase in noise, and just like I said, just with the dead end having been open, our property did suffer vandalism due to that. Just imagining opening up a commercial site and approving the development site, the traffic will definitely go ahead and increase. That's pretty much our main concern, which the commission has already brought up.
Thank you. Are there any other comments? Any more public concerns? Hearing none, I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing. Commissioners, any other questions? I guess, Mr. Starr, you've seen the requirements that the staff has put on you? I guess I can't find them right now. Were there conditions, Sam? I can't find the page.
Yes. Needs to
Oh, I'm
be,
sorry. I was muted, I believe. Yes, I do have seen the plans and understand.
building permits
Yeah,
within the next 6
within a
months.
year, yeah, okay. All right, I will take a motion, but I guess as the chairman, I don't know if I can interject a friendly amendment to the motion, but I would ask for a little bit more traffic study and definitely getting permits for access onto Meacham if anybody would include that into their motion.
Nope.
Okay, so what's your motion?
Can I ask what would be involved?
Mr. Starr, it just recalls a call to Roswell Highway Department office and talking to the permit person. You have an existing driveway already, and they will probably ask how much more traffic is it going to be versus what it used to be and things like that. I don't think there's any way that they would deny it. It's just that they look for, a because it's so close to a signalized intersection, they will look at the amount of traffic coming in and out of Meacham at that driveway, being so close
Okay.
to the light.
Okay. And I'm sorry, you said the Department of Highway?
Yes, highway
Roswell?
in Roswell, yes. And Sam can get you the number. If not, I can get it to you. Thank you, Mr. Starr. Appreciate it.
Thank you, thank you.
Do I hear a motion?
Based upon the foregoing findings of fact for section 54-67 of the village code, I move to grant the requested site plan and conceptual approval for case number SP-2020-0801 with conditions stated in the case report, with an added condition that the requester will go through the state highway department in Roswell to request permitting and questions, as Alan pointed out, for a plan, a traffic impact plan, whatever it's called.
Second.
I think everybody understands what the need. We just need to see if they're okay with additional traffic, if there is going to be additional traffic next to the signal. So that's the motion in the amended second. Can I get a roll call, please?
Commissioner Byers?
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly? Aye. Commissioner Tandino?
Aye.
Commissioner Riley?
Aye.
Motion carries 4 in favor, 0 against.
Next item on the agenda is a public hearing for fire prevention. Do we have enough time on our CD and everything?
103:27.
Got time?
No, that's gonna max out.
All right, we're going to take a 5-minute break before we have the next public hearing.
It says 80 minutes, but it stops at 7.
Okay. 3-minute break.
We don't want to make any motions today? Kick them out.
You are on the record.
All right, we're back in session. So we have a public hearing, ordinance amendments to chapter 42, fire and prevention and protection recommendations to amend and revise chapter 42. So we have Michael and Cody here to give us briefs.
Yes, sir, Commissioner. Good afternoon. Thank you. Yeah, we appreciate the opportunity to bring this amendment and the updates to you. The long and short is this hasn't been amended for roughly 10 years. And there's been a lot of appliances and building constructions and mandates throughout the state and the fire department and the village. And just to bring clarification to the service and permitting, and most importantly, the safety of our village, our forest, and our residents. You can see through the document that Sam helped us submit that there's a lot of changes, but mostly it's going to be to the gas and electrical appliance that, in the past few years, like patio grills, Traegers, smokers, that it wasn't clear that they weren't in there. And so we're dealing with these on a daily basis with permitting and open fires. So if y'all have any questions or concerns or recommendations, we would like to answer and talk through those today so y'all can understand what we're doing and where we're going.
How about giving us a brief? Can I still have my gas grill on my porch?
Yes, sir. Yeah,
Is this,
you can. There's just some clearances and a few things that myself and Chief Morrow can clarify and go through with this ordinance. But yes, we didn't really take anything or anything like that. We just added some safety aspects in there for water sources or extinguishers and some clearances on houses and decks, and just kind of what we do to hold some transparency and accountability in the system to make sure that we don't have any accidents in the village and burn anything up.
So I'm assuming this is one of these, I guess, a proactive approach, not necessarily an ordinance that we're going to go look at everybody's porch and everybody's deck and everybody's grill. It's just if we have complaints and calls, then we have an ordinance to back us up for citations and such like that. Is that correct?
That's right. The previous ordinance had some vague terminology and things in it, and we don't just go door to door. They usually call us for permitting or information or just help on being safe, and that's exactly what this is going to do for us.
Cody, is this possibly, due to, people having little fire pits and stuff in their backyard and getting called, and then even maybe a little gas fire pit that people calling or freaking out about fires and things like that? Is this also to address that kind of stuff?
Yes, sir. It's all in there. All the open fire pits, even our restrictions. We've added the restrictions and levels for clarification and understanding. And a lot of it, sometimes it is locals, but mostly it's the out-of-towners that come to town that don't understand where we live and what we do, and everybody wants a fire pit in their, backyard or on their deck or at their camper. And we just want to be accountable to go out, help them, inform them, educate them, and make sure they're still happy whenever they leave.
Hey, Cody, I know as it is right now, to have a gas fire pit, it has to have a commercial permit. Does this change anything about that? Because I think I heard about some things maybe changing with that.
Okay, I'll defer this to Chief Morrow, and he'll read it to you as we wrote it.
Hello, this is Assistant Chief Morrow. Yes, to answer your question, the original ordinance was pretty vague as it related to open fires. And part of that is just the wording. If you'll notice in the original, it talks about some of those open fire pits being permitted, but it also could be read as they are able to be permitted. So the way that we've been enforcing that is anything that produces an open flame requires an open fire permit through the village. So gas, wood burning, anything that's not a cooking appliance would require a fire permit. And that's the way we've been enforcing it so far. The language was vague in the original ordinance. So to answer your question, anything that would be recreational that produces a flame would continue to have a permit issued through the village.
Whether that's residential or commercial. And we do have some people that have custom fire pits, and we work with them. It's not a black and white. It's not yes or no. We actually go out on site talk with the homeowners or business owners and try to work with them as best we can. But at the end of the day, we just want everybody to be safe and not have any incidental starts in the village.
Any questions? So Sam, this is, we make a recommendation to the council for, based on our talk here, right?
Correct.
Okay. Any other questions? If not, is there a motion on the, a what? Oh, public hearing.
Come on.
Man, all I see is Timothy Dodge up there. Is, this is a public hearing. Is there anybody that wishes to speak for or against this ordinance?
I think everybody left.
Seeing none, I will go ahead and close the public hearing. May I have a motion for, what's the pleasure?
Where is the motion?
There isn't one in there, but we're just looking
It's
for
a-
recommendation to the council.
I move to approve the recommendations set forth by the fire chief and assistant chief.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Byers?
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly?
Aye.
Commissioner Pandino?
Aye.
Commissioner Riley?
Aye.
Motion carries 4 against, or 4
4
in favor,
against.
0 against.
4 against.
4 against.
Thank you, chief.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
All right, so we have a community development report.
So this morning during our council workshop, the mayor was discussing some applicants that he has, to possibly promote to our planning and zoning commission, during the November meeting. So that'll be, nice to have that addition and to have our full board.
Can we deny
know
if
who
we
they are?
don't like them?
I don't know who they are. He's working with Irma Divine, the clerk, with that.
Well, if we don't like them.
So
Didn't like
I'm
me,
sure
they
it'll
let
be
me in.
great. The mayor,
Oh, I don't mind you, Alan.
and community development. So that's
Threw her
not
off.
much, really.
I know.
Okay,
It's good.
all right. Commissioner comments, I'll have one. Mark Flack gave a lot of time and effort for being there. Do you guys give any recognition, or does the council give recognition to people that chaired this thing?
Get a nice letter every year.
Setting himself up.
I know. What the heck? What are you looking for?
This is
Monetary
a
gain here, Alan?
self-serving question, but no, I think Mark deserves a little appreciation or something.
You
If,
didn't get
He did a
anything
great
to Larry.
job, and we appreciate his time and all of your else time. So I'll bring it up to
goes to chairman.
clerk.
Yeah, Larry
Not
was the
you.
chairman.
Oh, right.
He
Okay.
never got anything. I got a nice letter last year for my service.
You did?
I did.
I never
Yeah.
got one of those.
You have to be here as long as me, though.
Okay, any more commissioner comments? Come on.
Scarlett's got comments, we just can't hear her.
Okay, I will make one comment. I apologize for not choosing a blue shirt today for the meeting. Really, I apologize for not choosing a shirt that's more contrasting with my skin color.
Yeah, there were moments. I wondered.
I know, I logged on and I saw my little video preview and I was like, oh, shoot.
She went to the beach.
Anything else? Anyway, we'll send you the memo about color shirts for December's meeting.
Is
Okay.
there already things on the docket for December?
Potentially a vacation of
The vacation, awesome. Can I go?
right.
Seeing no business, we are adjourned. Thanks, Scarlett.
Okay, bye.
Bye, Scarlett. Thank you.